Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Board Report brought to you by Indian River Connections. I'm Joanne Binford, and this is John Karapi. Come on board, John.
I'm here.
Oh, I had you blocked off.
That's not nice. Don't block me.
So, John, listen, this has been a wild month. You know, we not only took time to remember our falling Americans from the 9/11 attack, right? But then we had to witness a horrifying subway murder and an assassination of Charlie Kirk. And let's not forget about the school shooting in Colorado.
Yeah, it's been a wild month, and I think it's going to get even more wild coming up here in the next 2 and 3 months into the new year, because things are boiling up to the surface, and a lot of truths are being told out there.
Yeah, and we've got stuff even going on here in Indian River County, and I've got something that I've been concerned about. What I heard Indian River County, where somebody purchased 7,000 acres of ag land, and they're wanting us to pretty much change the ag land so that they can build housing there. So I've got a little bit of a suspicion of what's going on, and I have some questions that I wanted to share with everybody on what I found and what I'm looking at.
Yeah, definitely. We got to look into it. We got to see what's coming into our backyards. We don't want any kind of these 15-minute cities or these smart cities coming around our area. We don't need that. So good looking.
Yeah. We want to know what the developments, what development is coming here and how it's going to benefit and assimilate with our town.
Exactly.
So let's move on to the commercial break, and we'll come back with a video of the county commission meeting.
Warrior Shield Foundation is here to unite, honor, and provide support for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star family members. The foundation will enable them to find the help they need through direct assistance or by connecting them with our shared vision network. Using data-driven models, we provide solutions that make a long-lasting difference. We, along with our partners, are dedicated to bringing together like-minded groups and individuals who have committed to making a difference in the lives of our hardworking, everyday heroes. We bridge the gap by connecting warriors or their families with the assistance they deserve and require, such as service dogs, wheelchairs, counseling, scholarships, and team-building retreats, to name a few. You can help right now to make a difference for those who have helped and protected us all. Warrior Shield Foundation, selflessly doing for those who need it most.
It's a long way to home, but you won't take the hard road all alone. Just look to your left and look to your right. You were born to fight.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Thomas Kenny.
Oh, hey, Joanne.
Hey, and we've got Kevin McDonald with us today. Hi, guys.
Hi, Joanne. How are you doing?
So listen, we're going to dive into it here. We've got the county commission meeting that came up, and it really brought up a lot of questions because, as you know, we love Indian River County, and it just was an odd meeting with this one gentleman who purchased 7,000 acres. And I wanted to pull that up because I have a lot of questions about it, especially with other things that I've seen going on around the country. So let's move on to that and pull it on up.
Battle is coming to the West. And the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call
Here we
Thank
go.
you so much for the time. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. Really appreciate it. And I am not a voice of one person. I'm a voice of 400 people. We are a group of people who bought 7,000 acres west of 95. That is in the opportunity zone.
Okay, I want to stop it right there. Now, there's 400 people who bought 7,000 acres together. So I just want to make sure you guys are following this.
Did he just say it's an opportunity zone?
Yes, he did. He said it's an opportunity zone, and they bought this 4 years ago knowing it was ag coded.
And for the listening audience, the opportunity zone is that Tim Scott opportunity zone. When the Trump tax cuts were first passed, that was something that got Tim Scott on board. The opportunity zones in rural and inner city areas.
Right. Okay. So let's see what else he says here, but follow him closely.
To make it our future home. We are all software engineering professionals all over the US, and we are in semi-retirement phase. I'm close to 50, and we have some of our friends, and we want to make Vero Beach as our home. That is what we planned 4 years back, and that is what we've been doing. I also met Commissioner Ehrman to talk about some of our plan. And we are all very highly educated software engineering professionals, like in the West Coast, all these New York and everything, and all these people. We want to make this as a home. And when we found this place of Vero Beach, which is in the right heart of the center of the Florida, right on 95 NC Highway 60 junction, we thought, hey, there's a huge opportunity here. There's a huge potential here. And the corridor, that 60, that connects all the way from the West Coast to East Coast, and the 95 and the Turnpike, we saw that's an excellent location for us to be in. It's a great connectivity. But what I found over the period of last 2-3 years is, we are talking about urban sprawl. We are talking about limiting growth. We are talking about ag use and everything. And what are the country's problems today, if you see? Affordable housing.
Now,
I hate that term.
I wanted to stop it right there because he says we're talking about, limiting growth, but that he purchased that as ag property.
He did, and he uses the buzz term. Hey, what do we have a problem with in America? Affordable housing. I can't stand that, because I think that's a buzzword for developers to get governments to cut them tax breaks to come in and develop, quote, low-cost housing. What do? They usually develop it and then sell it off to someone else who's going to manage it.
And I think
so they've made their money, and nothing's really changed in affordability. And in a capitalist system, affordability comes with a middle class. So the question becomes here, like you ran on in 22, Joanne, what are we doing for the middle class to bring good jobs? Now, this guy's a software developer. He has software engineers. He talks about warehousing and stuff in this speech as well. But what are we doing about business? I'm still looking at our mall, and it's a shell of what it once was. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it's completely dead. Kevin, what did you think about that part of his speech?
Well, it does raise some questions as to what's up their sleeve. Why do all these people want to come to this particular location? If you're a software developer, you could be anywhere. You don't even need to be together. So you're sort of wondering what this is about. You always have to be concerned when somebody's plans require the rezoning of the property that's already there. The first thing you think about is what is the infrastructure impact? If they were to do this, this would create all kinds of new infrastructure requirements, sewer, water, roadways, traffic, etc. So that's just one aspect that they need to consider. I know this is outside of where our current residential development is. So that would be a big impact. But then the other question is, if you can bring 400 people, or presumably several times that many people, that really changes the the face and shape of the community. So if they were to go ahead and do this, they would need to be very sensitive to and aware of and assured of how this would integrate well with the community that we have currently.
Yeah, the other question I kept asking is throughout his whole entire speech, and there's a little bit more after this, he never mentioned how the group of people got together. Are they an organization? Is it a company? You know, did they put their name under a trust? What's the name of the trust? So I thought it was a little vague for somebody who's talking about such a big endeavor and having 7,000 acres of property in our county and wanting to change it. So I had a lot of those questions. I was like, who is this? What company is this? Is it a trust? Who's asking these questions besides the one representative that's up here? And like, I want to remind everybody, 4 years ago, and I know you guys have heard me talk about this, I witnessed my first auction in Indian River County at the Heritage Center. And Wesley Davis was there, and there were people buying all this acreage out here, and the timing is right. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the property out west that was being sold. It's got to be the same property, because I was standing in that room and I saw how they were putting the acreages up, and they were being sold dirt cheap, but you had to have enough money to buy that whole plot of land. You know what I'm saying?
You couldn't finance it. You had to pay cash.
I don't know how they were paying for it, but each plot of land was like 600 acres, 300 acres, 400 acres, and they all were priced at dirt cheap. You could buy 600 acres for like $300 to $600. People were bidding on the land. So if you won your bid and they had a few other plots of land with lots of acreage up there, you would get to buy those other plots at the lowest rate per acre. It was phenomenal what I was seeing. I was like, why aren't we buying that land for our residents, you know? But I had a lot of questions. So when I saw him come up and he was talking about all this acreage, it was just bringing back a memory that I went to my first land auction and I really didn't understand it. They had these pamphlets and they had people talking to the buyers on the phones. I mean, the buyers were not even there. They had their people on the phone doing the bids.
They were agents.
Yeah. So let me play the rest of this because it was very, very interesting.
World is moving towards digital. There is more and more need of warehouses. Highway 60 on the west is a great location that's going to be a excellent spot for warehouses that can deliver all our goods online. But we are not doing anything to that effect. It was declared as an opportunity zone to bring growth, but we are not doing, as a county, we are not doing enough to bring that growth or the financial muscle power that is needed. And we are looking at all these things. I feel that, okay, is this county welcoming or the city welcoming for the new people to come and make their home? So that's what I've been thinking about. Did we make the right choice? And we are talking about limiting and making it only ag-use land. You know, this is a land that we bought to make homes, build houses, make retirement homes, and making them, reducing the density, making them ag-use and everything. That will not serve the purpose of the landowners. I'm not sure how much it serves for the county commissioners, but these are some of the things. My request is to keep this in mind, is that a lot of people wanting to make Vero Beach as a home.
Now, he also said we want to build homes, retirement homes. Did you hear him say that?
Yes.
He said that.
Okay, hang on to that.
So so I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, sir.
So you've purchased property that's ag, and you want to convert it to residential? Is that what?
It's not ag. Right now it's owned for a AG2, which means you can have
It's
one
ag.
dwelling unit. Yes, it's ag. And then it is in the prime location. Now, if you look at the entire 95, all the way from the north to south, it's all high value properties, high growth properties. And it's on the right intersection of the 95 and 60, and we are limiting growth. That's a excellent location for a high value growth. And then you can have some a very good community, expensive community like what we have in Sarasota. This county has so much potential, and I think we are limiting the growth by not developing the 95 West.
I did have a meeting with him and his counsel, Pete Sweeney, months ago. And the emails that I've been receiving the last couple of days is it's from over well over 100 people. It's a joint email cut and paste that everybody sent. It says, I'm writing as a property owner with holdings on west of I-95 within the St. John's Improvement District to express my concerns regarding the proposed 2025 comprehensive plan EAR-based amendments, particularly those that would implement a new town developed framework for unincorporated ag lands in Indian River County. I strongly oppose these amendments. They represent a drastic, unwarranted departure from the county's extended land use policies. I don't need to go in the rest of it. I think you just said it. We haven't changed any zoning or anything like that. That property out there, of course, is agriculture, but we haven't changed or even discussed anything with regards to that. And
What do you guys think about that?
You know, it's worth noting that best case scenario, these folks bought land that was agricultural land, as you said, at very dirt cheap prices. And if the county were to decide to rezone this for residential, it raises the value of that 10, 20 times. So
Easy.
that benefits those people.
Mhm.
But so they basically sort of stole the land under the impression that it was ag land, and they're going to get the county to turn that land into an enormously expensive piece of property. Best case scenario, they're benefiting a lot, and the county isn't getting any of that benefit.
No, it's not.
Until they develop it. But by then,
Yeah,
you change the whole complexion of your county. If at 7,000 acres is quite a bit of land.
Right, but if they go from $300 an acre to $50,000 an acre, say $30,000 an acre, so that's what 100 times more. So if their land value is increased 100 times by the action of the county commission first, there's going to be a lot of financial pressure on those 5 people. To go along with that, because there's going to be a lot of money, a lot of value involved. But none of that value really is going to, none of that 100 times growth is going to filter down to the county and to the citizens here. It's actually going to put a burden on our infrastructure and on the rest of the citizens. They're going to make millions of dollars.
Yeah, because the county's going to have to build out that way with piping and road and all that stuff.
They have an urban service boundary that goes out to the CVS facility, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so it's not much farther. I would presume he's west of that development already.
I wish we knew.
I don't know where he is.
I wish we knew what the name of the trust or the company was, because I went to, let's go to where I can pull up my screen share. Which panel is that, John? Mike. Is Mike still there? Yeah, which one's my screen share, Mike? So I want to pull it up to this property. So when I go to this property, I'm seeing acreage that's been purchased. Hold on. I'm trying to get to it. Why is there no information there? There was before. Oh, what's going on? It's not showing me the property.
Refresh the webpage.
Yeah, let me refresh it, because it'll show you these companies, and these are the numbers that I saw when I was at the county auction. Yeah, when I was at the county auction.
There you go.
Okay, let me zoom out. Zoom out. So these are the properties out here. You see, this should be 95. And are we south of 60? These were all the properties that I saw on the map. Epic Estates. Epic Estates. There's 149.84. Epic Estates, 318.31. That's the other one I showed you, 312.21. You have to go around and find where they have the properties. Epic Estates, 463.91. Epic Estates, 272. There's more. Epic Estates, 304.65. They pretty much brought a lot of these lots. There's some down here that I found. Epic Estates, 314. That's Florida Power. Florida Power. I'm trying to remember where all the properties were because they showed them on the map when we were looking at them. Epic Estates. But there's a bunch more because he has 7,000 acres.
Florida Power and Light has a lot to put.
Yeah, there's Florida Power. So
Florida
Power and Light is a lot. So I was very curious because when I found the Epic Estates and there was, like you said, brokers buying for these people, and you really didn't get to see any of the paperwork. They had like these booklets that they would turn in to, I guess, I don't know how auctions work, but that's the paperwork that they would turn into the auction. There was a lady sitting at a desk that would take those folders where they were buying it. And what really concerned me about this is because we have Texas. Here's the Texas 402 acres Epic City Development.
So you're saying it's the same company? Joanne, do you say it's the same company?
I'm not saying, I'm wondering, it's very coincidental that we have an Epic LLC making all this purchase. And then we also have Epic City 2.0. Then we have this other Epic. See this here? Epic. It's also called Epic in Plano, Texas. And sorry, let me pause that. So, and then we also have this city. Now, this is not called Epic. This is the, they never said, they never called it Epic, but they called it, it's another compound that does the same thing as Epic 2.0 and Epic 1.0. So I'm wondering.
What do those compounds do?
Those are Islamic compounds. That's like Epic. Here you've got Epic City in Texas. They want to build an Islamic community where Sharia law is taught, ingrained. This is, you're not going to be able to walk in there as an American and feel comfortable. Most likely. We've seen it in New York City where they're praying the Adhan in the middle of the streets and stopping traffic. So my question is and I've been trying to get a hold of Joe Ehrman because I want to know who Epic is and if Epic is connected to that gentleman that was talking for 400 people that purchased.
Are you saying they all wanted to move here? Is that your assumption, or is that what you're speculating?
He's telling us that he's got 400 investors that want to make Indian River County his home.
Their home.
And that's right. that
But
they're
that's
coming
that's
here.
almost
but
20 acres a person. So they're going to have big houses.
It's no, it's seven. It's about, it goes, you're right. It comes to about 17 acres per person. But when I want to know what this guy is doing here and who his company is and what his trust is. And if Epic here that's buying out the land, Epic Estates, 12 Vero Beach, if they have any connection to creating a new town and what that new town is going to be.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what new towns are. Why? Because that's obviously a terminology that is inside baseball to government. But for the average human being, we don't know what's going on here and what people are developing. It's some type of civic engineering term. It's one of those Andres Duany type languages. For those of you who are familiar, the guy who wanted to redesign downtown and turn everything into a walking space and a 15-minute smart city.
Mhm.
Well, he did say digital city when he was making his presentation as well. But I'm just curious, and I would like to hear from Joe Ehrman because I've left several messages for him in regards to this because he had the paperwork on it. So he actually could have said what the name of this company or trust was that was making the purchase, but nobody divulged that information. And does Epic have a connection to the Epic cities that are being spread out throughout the United States where Sharia law is taking control? So I have a concern and I'm curious to find out more. And I'm wondering, is this going to be related to this growth?
Well, I think you're right to be concerned if indeed that handout to be a situation such as that, because those other areas where that's occurred, we've basically lost control of our cities, and we're losing control of our country. They're taking over. They're abdicating our laws, and they're imposing their Sharia law, and then they have a stated goal to cause everyone to be forced to submit to their Sharia law and all the Islamic precepts by which they live. So that is a major thing for us to know. But the step before that is, why in the world would the county take this piece of land, this piece of ag land, and turn it into a many $million piece of property for their benefit, but not for the benefit of the county? Why would they even consider that?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions to ask about it because the land was auctioned off 4 years ago. And Joe Ehrman actually spoke with these. You heard him say that he actually talked with his his attorneys. What was his name? Pete Sweeney and Cody Estes. He spoke to them, but never mentioned what the organization was. And he has a folder that has information on this, and we should know what it is. And if this is a type of development that's going to enhance Indian River County, or if it's going to bring turmoil to Indian River County like New York City's experiencing, Philadelphia's experiencing, Michigan's experiencing. There is something happening in our nation where the Islamic Brotherhood is spreading. So I'm questioning, what is this? And I think I should be able to question it without feeling like somebody's going to call me an Islamophobic, because in all the cities where people were afraid to question, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'd like to show you a clip where I think Charlie Kirk was onto something, and that was the clip that came up a little early. I wanted to play that first, but I ended up
battle is
talking
coming
about
to the
this.
West. The
Go.
spiritual battle is coming to the West. And the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these two threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Yep.
And there's
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and there's even a more core principle about below that, which he states, and that is Americanism at its core is the social contract, which is represented by our Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Our Constitution delineates how we have agreed that we will live together and we will rule ourselves. We will restrict ourselves for the sake of our communities and each other. And people who come in here have the contractual responsibility to agree to that and live by that. And there are these people who are coming in who do not, who want to completely remove what is actually Americanism by supplanting a different constitution of sorts and removing our constitution, removing our social contract, and removing all the rights and the benefits that the 360 million people here deserve and have under that constitution.
Right. And then you're absolutely right. I absolutely agree with you.
I always like it when I'm absolutely right.
Well, we have a social compact, which is through our Constitution, and a lot of people are coming here and they are not assimilating. And when you see people stopping traffic in the streets to hear the calling prayer of Adam, that's not just prayer. That's showing domination. That's taking over the culture of America. That's literally stifling, stepping on your culture and saying, we're here, move out the way. This is what it's going to be. Not your church bells, not your prayers, not your walking in the streets. We are showing dominance by planting ourselves in the street in droves, and nobody's going to stop us. And we're going to use your liberties, your Constitution to shut you up. You know, and that's what's happening is they use our freedom of speech. They use our Constitution against us. How many people have been arrested for praying across the street from an abortion center?
That's England.
Yeah.
No, England will be here quick enough.
Yeah.
And the reason it's England is because they allowed the Muslim Islamic worldview to permeate and overtake their social contract and the
they've allowed the Muslim view to literally take over common law, and that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing the outgrowth of the Muslim worldview imbued onto English society, and it's taking over. It's becoming the common law slowly but surely. And as people get into places of government who are Islamists, we have the mayor of Oxford and a bunch of other cities, including London itself. You now have this Islamic view of what is common law in an Islamic society, not necessarily an English society. And you're right. The epic city in Texas that came under scrutiny is because we want to build a cloister and shut out constitutional government of America so we can practice our faith. But in essence, you're practicing a cell. And while you have freedom of religion, you're practicing a cell, like you said, that does not assimilate. And no better view do you have of that than building a 500-acre community with a big development where only certain people are allowed in it to buy property, because you are one religion, you are one way of life. You are, that's a compound. That's not a pluralistic constitutional contract, social contract that Kevin's talking about, where the individual has agency. The problem that with the streets shutting down is that everybody's agency has to submit to a guy who's decided to throw a carpet in the sidewalk or in the middle of the street when he hears the Muslim call to prayer. That's not the way it works. That's not freedom of religion. At that point, that's one particular aspect of the culture taking over the rest of the culture, and that's not how it should work.
But we already have that, because we have elements of Islamism and Muslim religion beliefs that are being imposed upon us already. I mean, the simplest thing is you almost would fear for your life to say something negative about Islamic religion, because they'll come after you in every single way. So they're currently doing that. If you empower them, and we're not saying that this is what's going on there, we're talking a bigger aspect, but concerned that this would not be what's happening in Vero Beach. But if you allow that, they aggressively impose themselves upon you. And there's really two different worldviews. There's freedom, and then there's tyranny. And socialism, communism, dictatorships are all tyranny. They decide there's one worldview, one way of operating that they decide that they want. And in order to make it work, they can't get free agreement from everyone. So they must, by very definition, use force and violence to install and impose and ensure that their view functions throughout that society. So you must see, as a result of those kinds of situations, fear and intimidation and ultimately violence to impose their plan over people who do not want it.
Well, it's also the soft language they use to get started and to get into the areas that they need to infiltrate. And Mike, throw the rest of that video up, because I want you to hear the language of these leaders talking. And it's
the best of what Epic has to offer. And then, rather than just 100 houses, maybe 1,000+ houses. Rather than just one masjid and one facility, a magnificent complex. Rather than just an apartment complex that happens to be here, a purpose-built apartment complex. Rather than just one subdivision, an entire city that we advertise to the entire American subcontinent. That, look, Epic 1 was such an amazing success. What do you think would happen if we bring forth Epic 2.0? What is going to happen if we bring forth Epic 2.0, taking the best of Epic 1.0 and then purpose building an entire facility, an entire city, not just a subdivision, an entire massive plot of land right here in Dallas. Not 100 houses, 1,000 houses. This is going to be the opportunity of a game changer for the American da'wah scene. Can you imagine an entire city, meaning a district of Dallas? This is still in Dallas, don't worry, right? An entire sub-city of Dallas, where purpose-built, we have from top to bottom an infrastructure. We have apartment complexes. We have people's home for elderly, those that need to have elderly people's home.
Do you hear what he just said? And the guy that was at the county commission was talking about building homes and senior living homes. Okay?
Retirement, yeah.
Yeah, so these are the questions that are arising, because I'm seeing this is actual language that's happening here in the United States. And so let's see a little more of this, and you can see why it raises concern with me.
Built assisted facility. We have entire schools. Can you imagine the potential of such a city? Nothing this ambitious has ever been planned before in North America. And there's only one community that inshallah ta'ala can do it. And that is our community right here, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Say inshallah. We are going to go from Epic 1. Epic 1's still going to be here. We're still going to be the best. But Epic 1 is going to take the best that it has and then bring about an Epic 2.0, inshallah ta'ala.
Have you seen this?
No.
I've heard about this.
A testament to faith and community. The heart of our journey begins with the foundation of unity.
I don't think unity means what we think it means.
No, it doesn't.
Well, there's no agency.
Education, the cornerstone of growth and prosperity. Here, young minds flourish, nurtured by knowledge and boundless opportunity. Epic QC, a girls' school, kindergarten to 12th grade, building acquired in 2023.
This is Epic 1.
QC, a boys' school, completion in 2024.
It's a Montessori, by the way.
Epic endowment building and land acquired in 2021.
I gotta tell you, I love the music. I don't know what they're saying, but it's kind of calming.
And now,
what they're saying is, look out, you're going to lose your rights.
Of harmony,
now, this is Epic
where
2.
homes and hearts unite.
This is the 2.0 one.
402 acres of beautiful scenery.
Guy's voice is in auto-tuner. It is. I'm a production.
It's very
guy.
calming, though.
Welcome to the future of living. Welcome to Epic City. Nestled in the heart of Josephine, Texas. It is about 20 miles and 20 minutes from Epic.
So you got it, right? This is Epic 2.0. It's 20 miles from
Commercial
Epic 1.0.
Center of town is the mosque.
Yep.
Welcome
and that's only
Epic
on 402
2.0.
acres. We have someone who purchased 7,000 acres and we don't have any information.
Epic City.
When you do the math,
is more than
7,000 acres, that's
it's a way of life.
30,000, roughly
A
30,000
meticulously
quarter
designed
acres.
community that brings this
You
land
get to
the
apartments and
forefront.
smaller lot
A
lines,
community
you're going to
that
have
blends with nature,
50
crafted
to
to elevate
75,000
your
or
living
more
experience.
residents in that area.
That's
Possibly
right.
100,000 residents.
Mm-hmm. They will supersede us
With single-family
quickly.
homes, multifamily townhomes, and apartments.
And not only that, they will,
senior living.
they will
and in the heart of
supersede the
mosque
governance of
and
the
school.
county board.
Yes,
they
they
will
will
just-
take over seats.
No,
Have to.
first they will just
Prayer,
they'll take over that
carnivals,
land.
and
They will just
community
take
events.
control of it. They'll create a city. They'll create their own set of rules and laws. And then they will use all those new incoming people to gain control of what's left of the county.
Did you see that? That was a cricket stadium, I think.
See how big this is? And that's only 402 acres.
Yeah, look how close that housing is. You can
Yeah.
get 150,000 people on 7,000 acres.
Now you're freaking me out, Joanne.
Well, this is serious because you know what I've noticed is they are.
No hockey rink.
This is look. The states that have the highest electoral colleges have been targeted.
Well, this is Target 2.0. They were targeted 1.0 with the illegal immigrants who were brought in. I just read yesterday, the day before, that was it Houston or Dallas, where they took out 1,800 illegals and deported them, and there was another over 1,000 that they found. They've got like 3,000 that they just recently extricated who were basically all involved in some pretty serious crimes and issues. So a lot of bad people were in a very tiny enclave within that major city. And now you're looking at bringing another one. You're bringing in groups of people that are antithetical to our social contract, the Constitution. We already have people in Congress who reject the obligations and the commitments of our Constitution. Now we're bringing in hundreds of thousands of other people who basically reject the Constitution, which is in essence what America is.
Yeah, and I think Charlie Kirk was onto something, and you heard him explain it when in one of those takes that I had in there. And then I have a few other clips that show the discussions of people in the United States in this group, in this Islamic Brotherhood group, discussing what is happening in the United States and how it's going to continue to happen. And when you see Epic 1.0, that was a nice little start. And then you see Kansas City, they have one over there. And what they do is, like you see in the properties, let me go back to the property. Which one is that one?
Well, one of the things, Joanne, that you're looking at is that you see these developments. I don't know what this guy who was at the county commission, I don't have enough information to go. He seems to be, but he seems to be using some similar language. The greatest talking point when you go in any one of our county commission meetings or city council meetings, and everybody, as soon as someone says affordable housing, it's like E.F. Hutton, everybody's head turns around. It's like, would you guys just not listen to that BS anymore? Because that is not the American approach to building wealth at all.
Right.
It's not like, oh, we are the government and we can dole out you a piece of the pie and give you an affordable place to live. That is nonsense.
No.
We talk about the budget and and what went on there, and the fiasco with not even be able to afford covering our sheriff's department. Well, why is that? Because we have to provide all these nuanced services that we've been doing for the past few years, Humane Society and various things like that, and these NGOs. Mm-hmm. And why do we have to do that? Because we've gotten away from what government in America is supposed to be. And, we can talk about how low our taxes are here and we're not going to raise the millage rate. Well, it's bunk if you're still going to provide a left-wing approach to low taxes in terms of doling out money, and then you have to cut services like public safety.
You're absolutely
crazy. Right. And here's the thing, Joe Fletcher went on the following day after that big long meeting, and then the other one that happened when they went for the approval of the general fund, and he promoted the idea of taking back the $6 million that they had allocated and then giving $12 million out of the savings account. $12 million out of which Takanish said only $15 million is available. That's 80% of the savings in the general fund.
The reserves you're talking about.
Yes, in the reserves for a reoccurring expense, which Laura Moss rightfully pointed out. Yup. And if you do that, sir, next year you will have to raise taxes to meet whatever amount you took from the reserves, which in his case was $12 million. Because what did he say? We want to provide these other services at full, and then we'll even have some extra left over because we took $6 million back for other projects. He is a big spending liberal. He admitted it right there.
Kevin?
That's who he is.
What's your take on that?
He's not a Republican at all.
No, he's not.
In the economic sense. Made me so upset. And nobody, and all these people are like going, yeah, we got to do what Joe wants to do. Joe wants to take you down a road of peril economically.
Joe's sitting comfortably with his retirement and like you said, was it you who said it last time? The county commissioners got a raise, or somebody told me about the raise that they gave themselves. I'm like, okay, so
County
he's getting
commissioners
pretty.
cannot give themselves raises. It is done by the state. They are
so the
required
state
to
gave them a
pay
raise.
them. Yeah, and the sheriff as well, and all your other constitutional.
So the state gave them a raise they don't deserve.
Right,
You
but
know?
they always give them a COLA, so that's just the way it is.
But you know, it's jobs, like you were saying. It's competitive jobs and wages. It's building the people up from being down. As long as people are down, you're always going to have to supply services, and the services that government supplies is to keep you down. It doesn't help you.
It doesn't give you a hand up. It just
No.
gives you a loaf of bread that you have to hold on to for a month.
Yeah, and
You get the next loaf.
and it doesn't work. And so you've got to have job opportunities. You've got to get the kids in schools back to have shop classes so that they have that mindset for skilled labor. I mean, the shop classes alone not being there in the schools, it depletes our county of having good skilled labor people to hire for skilled labor.
And here's the other thing about this, okay? You have in Texas right now these people building cloistered communities. And I'll tell you what, if the American dream is not available to the average American, where are they going to go? They're going to become something else. This nation will become something else, and they'll become cloistered, and the nation will balkanize into these various groups, everybody demanding their own slice of government when they need it. That's what these guys are doing.
Which ultimately that'll progress to a literal civil war.
Exactly.
Because they by definition, by proclamation, the Islamists, I'm not saying this particular 7,000 acre plot unless they are part of that same thing, but their basic strategy, their religious belief is to violently impose their beliefs on others. So there'll become a time when even the mild and meek realize that their very existence is threatened, and they're going to have to go to physical war to resist it. I wonder if Mike has any comments.
And that's because your government, in its ability to uphold being limited and providing the necessities that are needed to provide so people can expand and grow their wealth, they failed you.
Mm-hmm.
More like sold out.
Either way.
And you know, they have an upper hand on us because the way their ideology and the way their family unity works is to continue to have children. And the American people are not continuing to have children. You know, going back to the Islamic nature of things, they will have 5 and 6 kids. We have 2 kids. You know, they're
going to fill out all that housing over there in Texas.
They're going to outnumber us, you know, and we just have to be alert, and we have to be inquisitive, and we have to understand when somebody's moving into a town. Like, this is ag property, but they're putting the note in there because this is what they're pushing for. They're pushing to change that property, but we want to know who they are. And it really bothers me that somebody would come up that the county commissioner would meet with and would not, in a public meeting for the public to hear who's listening. And it's a recorded thing. So if you didn't hear the live meeting, you can look back at it like I did. And I'm like, okay, so Joe, are you going to tell us who this guy is? Are you going to tell us?
Well, the only thing you have to do is public records request, because right now that's what you should do next. Say, hey, I saw this. Who is the owner of this property? Ask Mr. Ehrman for me on my behalf, and he has to release it to you. And also, I want all the emails he mentioned that are associated with it. Hi there, Mike. I know you wanted to come in.
I had to jump in because that was the segue right there. You don't even have to do a public information request because I've got everything I need to know, and it pretty much all but 100% backs Joanne's worries. It gives you more. You thought you were getting worried before. So just real quick, when I look at their website, Epic Estates, they've got 10,000 acres in Colorado, 13,000 here in Florida, 600 in Kansas, 700 in Kentucky, 950 in Arkansas. Georgia, they don't list it, but they say they have one commercial property and 1,100 in Texas. And when you look farther down on their website, they are pretty much investors. It was what their website is geared towards. This website, feel like there's a few other I've been on, but I couldn't directly link them to the same company. But I posted the comment earlier. Land banking. It's a real estate investment strategy in which investors purchase large parcels of undeveloped land, intending to hold it for the long term and then sell it at a profit, or work with the county to rezone the property for future development.
There you go.
That's on their website.
There's your FOIA.
Yep.
There's your
And that's
request.
what he was doing. He was putting that little tick in the ear. Hey,
Yeah.
you know, you're not welcoming, right?
Because they're going to sell, because they're going to profit off it one way or the other. So I mean, it's either they build a 15.
And it's one thing to buy a piece of property and sell it and eventually develop it. It's another thing to walk off with property dirt cheap, basically rob somebody, nearly rob somebody, and then change the zoning.
I'll make an assumption, but don't forget, when these type of deals happen, there's always a back-ended deal as well. So you always have to keep in mind that there's always something going on. If they approve it and then they turn around and sell it and make a profit, that money's got to be funneled back to somebody that approved it. So that's where you have to be careful.
Got to follow the money.
I've got more. So when you do the search for the LLC, it comes up registered to Sir Devi Yara Masadi. Was that the guy's name that was there at the county meeting?
No, he said Van Katasha.
Okay. So the owner of this Epic Estates is Yara Mas whatever. He's the registered agent. He's also one of the title owners. There's another one, Baram and Ganduri. There's 3 listed on Sunbiz, but they're where did I see it? The 3 have Florida addresses, but their principal address is in Flower Mound, Texas. So when you pull up Flower Mound, Texas, it's a northern suburb of Dallas, and it's everything is fitting
kind of
what your suspicions are, Joanne. Yes. And it's very interesting. I think there's definitely something to watch. Just like one of our commenters is paying attention now, that this is 100% serious. We want growth, but do we want? Like you said, you did the math, Kevin. That's
17,000 acres.
That's a voter demographic.
Yeah,
that's a whole city. That's a whole city.
Right.
Much larger than here.
It's a smart city. The guy said digital. So it's a smart city. That's what's happening. Yeah. This is what the plan has always been for years, is to build these smart cities. And these guys come in here, they infiltrate it, and they act like, oh, we just want to develop. We want to live here. We want to have families. We want to make Vero Beach our home. And that's true to a certain extent, but it's not really true. It's a whole bigger agenda. There's a whole deeper, scenario happening here.
Well, like Kevin was saying, they could literally take over our voter rolls.
Yeah. Definitely.
They will. At least per house. They will.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's not only your state, your local school board, county commission, your freaking hospital district mosquito control,
your city,
your representatives here, and then how many it's gonna just like the illegal immigration problem is screwing up our census reporting, and Republicans are very underrepresented, and that's very what perfect chemistry though. Look at Indian River County. Like
it's
you look at voter turnout, and then it doesn't take much to change the game in this county. So
don't forget, Mike, how ironic and the timing of it all that the Oslo interchange is just getting ready to be done now. So now all of a sudden they bought this property 5 years ago, or whenever they bought it, and now they're creeping on in, going to make a little connection with Ehrman and start to massage some people's hands, and now because the Oslo exchange opened, it's going to make the property even more expensive and more valuable, and even more of an opportunity for 15-minute cities right down the street from us.
Well, and then Mike was saying, we'll go from 5 city commissioners because the population will grow. We'll have like 8, 6, or 7, or even 8.
You'll have 7 or 9.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
county
Kevin.
Commissioners. So now you've got the balance thrown off even more to a liberal state, most likely.
And I was going to explain that when you're working in a factory, you got something on a skid, it doesn't tend to move unless there's grease under the skid. Exactly. When you've got this much additional, when the county can increase the value of this land by maybe 100-fold, there's going to have to be a lot of grease under the skids to make that happen.
Absolutely.
And do you know what greasing the skids means in terms of what's going on in the county? There's going to be a lot of pressure for people to
rezone.
To rezone and to finance their future campaigns and become investors into that piece of property. There's way too much money. If the county's going to give away that much value, the county should get a major share of that value.
And that's part of what's going on. Like John brought up the interchange over here at Oslo. Everyone knows that the urban service boundary has been extended down Oslo all the way to the interchange, and maybe a little beyond, but not too much. And it's already been extended out past 95 over there by CVS and maybe a little farther. The goal obviously is to get it going. The flip side of this is you got FPL over there buying just as much acreage because they're building all the solar farms. So we've got solar farms in smart cities.
Yeah. And don't forget,
I don't potentially smart cities. I don't know. Epic is talking about land banking, and obviously, banking, you want a return on your investment. The only way you're going to get the return on the investment is, like Kevin said, as soon as the zoning changes, boom, everybody who's in that holding is making money.
And all of a sudden, just recently on Johnston, right here towards Indrio, where I live, on the right-hand side, there's all this acreage that's being all tore up for all kinds of stuff now. They're out there building apartment complexes or houses, but all of a sudden, all these years I've been driving
43rd Avenue, right?
Johnston Road.
Goes all the way down to 25th. Yeah, the county line.
Yeah, it's all their.
I got friends who live behind it. Yes,
they tearing all this property up. They were all pastures, and now they're all being turned into something. So they were ag, and then they got flipped. So that's just a perfect example.
And it's basically from who's the big family that's their farm all the way down to the county line.
The Sextons?
Yes, Sexton Farm has that tree farm out there.
Right.
And so basically right across the street south is a huge neighborhood going in.
Huge.
And so what happens is not only does the county not get anything out of that huge increase in value they've added, now the county's on the hook for $20-30 million to put infrastructure in there to help
piping,
make
water,
their value get higher.
Electricity, all of
roadway,
that, pavement, sidewalks.
Forget about the sheriff's budget.
Lights.
He's got a whole sheriff budget is going to have to ask for another $70 million to police another 100,000 person community.
Yeah.
If they allow him in the door.
Yeah, and that's the key, and that's why we do this show, to bring it to the surface, and so to let people know this is what's happening.
Back when I lived in Chicago for a short while, you may remember the name Cabrini Green.
Mm-hmm.
Cabrini Green is a part of Chicago that police, ambulance, nobody goes into because you don't come out alive.
Wow.
And
that's tough.
this is not that drastic, but those communities, the ones that you've described, that's what those communities are about. Right. It's their Sharia law. I'm not saying this one here is part of that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But in the other communities, their Sharia law is put in place. It's in where is it? Near
Dearborn, Michigan.
Detroit. Dearborn. That's what I was thinking. Dearborn, Michigan. Last week the mayor. The mayor told a member of the community that he should leave the community because he did not like. He expressed disappointment that they're going to name a street after somebody who was a Hamas terrorist sympathizer, and it's that bad already in parts of the country.
In parts of the country, you've got Islamicists going into little convenience stores, the gas station convenience stores, and telling them we're going to protest outside till you remove your liquor and all this other stuff that's not Sharia related.
I saw that video.
It's like it's happening, and we have to stay awake, keep our eyes open, ask questions, and make sure our county commissioners are also doing that, because they are who we gave the power to represent us. Well, I didn't vote for those people, but I voted for Laura Moss. But
I voted for Joanne Binford.
Yeah, but they are I've asked Joe Ehrman about certain things, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." It's like, so what are you doing? Are you just
I
coming
don't know
here
Joe.
doing county business?
I don't know Joe.
That's what I call him. I don't know Joe.
I don't know Joe.
He had no
He does
clue.
it. He admits it too.
He's a nice guy,
Since we did the first,
got elected.
Since the first X
He
Spaces,
doesn't
we
believe
did
in
with him-
reading.
Since the first X Spaces we did with him, Joanne, and I questioned him about the overdevelopment coming to Fellsmere. He had no idea what was coming. He had no idea, and ever since then, I always hear him say, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know Joe.
I don't know Joe."
That's his nickname."
Yep.
There's Joe Flesher. He's the ass,
And
then
we've
there's
got
I don't know
Sketchy
Joe.
Flesher. We've got Sketchy Flesher.
Sketchy Fletcher. So I'm still looking, and the owner of that Epic estate, one of the owners, lists property on land.com also. And he lists a lot of property in Florida, but none of it is
13,000 acres.
This might even be separate from the Epic City, because this is listed under his name specifically. So I don't know if this is just offshoot land that they couldn't pick up on the side or what. But yeah, it's all pretty scary. And like you guys kept touching back on the county, like they have to provide services for all these areas that are growing.
Yeah.
And to me, they're way behind. They're way behind the eight ball, and they haven't been proactive on anything in the county. And I feel like they say, well, that's in city limits. That's, they have their own jurisdiction, but you still provide the necessities of the county. So that's something we need to look at.
I was on the planning commission, the regional planning commission, and got exposed a little bit to all the planning that's involved and all they have to do. And they're primarily sidewalks and roadways, but it's a 10-year plan to figure out where these roads are going to be, how you expand those roads, how you're going to support the future traffic 5 and 10 years out. Now, if you blow 50 to 100,000 houses there in 10 years, that's going to change everything in terms of being able to support the infrastructure for all that added number of people. They're all going to want to get to 58th Street and 21st, 50th Avenue, 21st. They're all going to want to come down. They're all going to want to go over to the 17th Street Bridge to go to the beach, and then they're going to have a tower there so they can have called a prayer.
You see the comment?
Joe Murphy, let me read that for you. That's funny. My only experience with him, I guess, being Ehrman, he said he didn't know anything about 15-minute cities and didn't know what an NGO was.
Which, yeah.
He works for the government. He doesn't know what a non-governmental organization is.
He funds NGOs.
To the
funds NGOs, so they're not knowing.
I think it may mean to him never goes out.
And Joanne introduced him to the 15-minute cities 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
the problem is those jobs are
15 minutes later, he forgot all about it.
You know what that's called? It's called plausible deniability. That's what that's called.
Yep.
All right, Al Gore.
But it's the truth. It's called
Did Al Gore say that?
Al Gore is the original plausible deniability guy.
What it is.
Well, that'll be global warming too. It's
but that's what it is. If as long as you say you don't know, then you don't know. So you just
he invented the internet too.
Well, I mean, you think about it. He said he didn't know, and that they had that discussion about the contracts, and he said he didn't know. And all you have to do is you read those contracts, and you will soon find out that the lawyer had no right to ask for that money. Her contract she really stretched the language of her contract to get that 3-2 vote. And
I agree.
Tukanich actually did have the right, because it says in his contract under his compensation specifically that he's entitled to the same increases as all other employees, which they were talking about.
Yes, I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he more or less had a right. And so Tukanich goes and meets with these guys individually and then does what he does based on the individual meeting. There's a question of sunshine there. and Joe's up there going, well, I don't know.
Well, the whole idea is the proper
So I better
procedure.
just vote for this to bail out on, and we'll fix our sunshine issue here. That's what went on with the 5 of them that day.
And the proper procedure is, even if that was part of his salary in his position, he should be putting that as an item on the board's agenda to just put it in paper and get their confirmation of that, so there is no concern that something on their hand is being done. He should know in his position, he should know to do that. Don't be shy. If you got the 2.5%.
But it's also fair to say the county commission, if he came to them, the county commission should have said, nope, you have to put that on agenda. We can't talk about that.
Well, and he should know to put it on the agenda. And for those of you who understand, he's like the superintendent at the school board. So, the superintendent will put his issues on the agenda when he needs to discuss them. And a county administrator can do that too. And that's the way it works.
Well, you have 6 people. One of them is accountable to somebody, and that's him. The other 5, they get a decent amount of money, but there's no accountability for any of the Joes or anyone else to say, you really don't know what's going on. You have not invested the large amount of time to know what's going on and be informed. There's no accountability for that, because you know what? In the land of the blind, the county commissioner's king. No one else knows that they don't know, and so they don't have to know anything.
Well, I think we've all found out that Joe don't know.
Joe don't know.
Never
That's
goes
funny.
out. NGO.
I'm really concerned. This is not the county commission that we should have when we're facing this much growth, because I just feel like
Trust me, in 10 years, if that's a Muslim community out there, they're not going to reelect.
Right.
They'll have new people in.
Oh, for sure.
I'll be
And
gone.
I'm not going to be the alarmist.
Then.
I'm not going to be the alarmist, but pay attention to those names on the political signs that'll be popping up around town, and keep an eye on those financial reports, because it's where I go digging sometimes, and you find out a lot about who goes to these cocktail parties, Kevin, and donates to some of these candidates. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I haven't seen your name.
I haven't gone, and I didn't get many of those donations either.
Yes. Yeah. So, but it's interesting, I mean, back when we were playing around with the idea of another 4 years of barefoot, where his money was coming from, raised some eyebrows. Same with the sheriff. But that's a whole different story. So where are we on that? Did you guys hit that and I missed it? Is the sheriff getting his money, or what's going on?
No,
he's not
he gets
getting
his
his
6
money.
mil. So, like I said, Joe tried to at the final budget meeting it was the 17th at 5:00. It would, with the general fund. He goes, I can't. I'm the chairman, so I can't make the motion. So someone has to make the motion. And all of a sudden, it was really interesting. The sheriff couldn't be there. But he was talking like him and the sheriff had this massive conversation, and they buried the hatchet. And he was really apologetic that the sheriff couldn't be there. The sheriff had some major concerns going on because he's sheriff after all, and understood. But it was almost like they buried the hatchet.
Almost
and he
every
came up
meeting,
with,
though. Every meeting.
There were other times where him, the Flesher, and the sheriff were at odds, and I'm still upset that the sheriff didn't go to every county commissioner. I think there's breakdowns on both sides. First off, if you're going to sit here and tell everyone, let's take the $6 million that we're going to give him back and then give him $12 million out of savings, fund his budget out of savings, and Laura Moss rightly said, well, if you do that next year, you guarantee it, we have to raise taxes to maintain that level of budgeting. And she's right. So Joe is a big tax and spend guy. He was
Sebastian's raising Sebastian's going to have to raise.
Well, whatever, but I'm talking about Joe here. And the reality of it is Joe is trying to backdoor a tax increase. Laura caught him. And so did Susan Adams, for that matter. And Ehrman was really upset. And he was blaming the previous meeting about those salaries where he lost his vote. Again, that he's like, well, let's just do this, and I need someone to do it for me, and no one came forth, so they approved it at $6 million. But he was, you know,
but he made the argument to your point. He made the argument that they approved those two salary increases, and therefore he says there's no reason that we shouldn't do everything possible to fund the sheriff's office. That makes absolutely no sense unless you realize it's just a smokescreen because he's trying to drive one result and using a very flimsy cover, being the two salary increases.
He was getting his. You're right. He was getting his butt kicked in the PR war. The sheriff is right. You know, I look at this as like this. At one point, we saw 4% increase in prices, and then we had that 1 year under Biden 9.1% consumer price index, and every government entity got hammered. Meanwhile, the sheriff's department's already underfunded from just a salaries perspective. And, you know, one of the people who came up in the public comment, Kathy, I want to say her last name's Gibson, who was there for negotiations under Lohr, said right to the dais, hey, Sheriff, I was here with you, and you never gave the increases to your men and women in the sheriff's department. So here we are with this big gap. And then on top of that, you have that inflation come in and blow up costs. And we're all dealing with that. And rather looking at that and trying to figure out how to navigate that, we're just going to continue to fund this. We're going to continue to fund that. And now you're going to dip into savings knowing you're going to have to do a tax increase. The sheriff said last year that he was going to come back and ask this year. He came back and asked. And Tukanich said, there's so much pressure. The only way we're going to be able to fund him in the future is for a tax increase. And so Joe, in the last ditch effort, proposed a backdoor version of a tax increase.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable either way. Sebastian's making moves because they're worried about the whole property tax going away also, is from what I picked up from that article I shared to the group earlier. So I think at this point, nobody wants to hear it, but that's the path we're going down. I'm surprised they didn't do it this year.
And the reality is we are getting our tax increase. Our assessments go up. Our actual taxes go up. The fixed ratio against the assessment doesn't change, but the revenue increases. It's sort of like similar to the school district, although the school district is losing customers because they've got kids who are bailing and going to homeschool, but they're still getting more money every year because the assessment goes up and they maintain their millage rate. And so the county's getting more money, but again, these people are paid a fair amount of money. They should be at least looking into, are our employees being properly paid? If we give money to the sheriff's office, is he actually apportioning that to cover wages and keep those people up to speed? Not only sheriff's office, but also fire department. Most of their expenses are people. They should easily be able to, and they should be looking every year, say, are these people getting the money from what we're budgeting?
But they are. From what I've heard, they are. He is increasing wages, but they're so
that's the
far
sheriff.
behind.
I'm sorry, Joey. Is that the sheriff? Okay.
Yeah, but they've said he's so far behind that they still haven't met where they're supposed to be at.
Right.
You know.
But the county commission should be at the forefront of ensuring that, and the sheriff shouldn't be the one ultimately driving it. They're their employees. They should be able to say, hey, we've got people who are working for us. We got to start by taking. He's right. The sheriff's right about that. We should start with really the police and the fire department and say, we got to staff these people and we got to make sure they're paid. And now how much we're going to spend for other things, $4 million for NGOs or other stuff that doesn't have to be done.
Yeah, I say get rid of most of the NGOs and especially the ones that are getting funds from the hospital. Let them go work for the hospital. Get their get their money from the hospital, not from us.
Should have been what the county did is look at those things and saying, here's something that's not essential. We're going to cut that and get paid to our police officers, our sheriffs.
Yeah, but they don't do that because they washed their hands of the NGOs and they threw it in the lap of the Children's Services Advisory Committee.
And
who comes up
one
like
hand is-
they're a grant writer asking for money, and they're like always congratulating them. They never have any other comments except, "Oh, you're doing such a great job. Yeah, here you go. Here's more money."
Right. And one hand is always washing the other. You get $4 million that you give away, you get your hands clean, and you get your
as a
skin
county
greased.
commissioner, I would say to those and on the CSAC, I'd say, well, we've given $3 million this year. Are there any service? I see these duplicate services, or I've seen you guys have this agency has collected money from the hospital district. Maybe we don't need to give them that much money, or this agency's got $9 million coming in. Our county needs these funds to go to our first responders. Maybe we should cut back a little bit. I don't see the services really being killed by us not giving them our junk change, because for some of the NGOs, it's junk change because they're already making a lot of money outside of Indian River County.
Well, yeah, and the reality of that is until you clear the decks on that committee of people who are hired by the NGOs seeking the dollars,
right?
This is corrupt. I'm
sorry.
It should not be legal for you to sit on a board where you're going to get money from it.
Well, the county commission can rewrite that. They're the ones that created the children's services, so they could rewrite
it was done by
that.
the state, and it's done by the state. But yeah, they could write the rules of who gets to sit and who doesn't. You're right.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be $4 million.
And you don't have to have a Children's Services Advisory Committee, because Brevard County totally rejected it.
Brevard reject. I think they have one. Don't they have a taxing district?
They have a taxing district, but they don't have a Children's Service Advisory.
But they have a CSAC taxing district?
No, I have a legal document from when I was running for county commissioner that I used for when they tried to turn it into a trust to show, look, and their argument was, well, it never was a trust. I'm like, no, it never did become a Children's Services Advisory Committee, because when they were trying to implement it, they fought it and said, most of what you do is research and data. All your money is on these hire people. I mean, I got the letter and everything from the attorney that worked at Brevard County when they rejected it. And they rejected it entirely because at the time we had the CSAC and they were trying to become a trust. And I was trying to find out, okay, Brevard County had it put before them. How did they reject it, and why did they reject it? And when I talked to the attorney and I told her what they were doing here, she says, you definitely don't want it to be a trust, because the way it's implemented as a trust, which is the ballot, is the only way you're ever going to get it off. And nobody's ever going to vote no on a ballot when you're talking about children. So once it becomes a trust and goes on the ballot for vote, and it's out of the hands of the commissioners, basically, now it's in the hands of the people, it will never go away. It will be forever and ever and ever a trust and a Children's Services Advisory on our taxes.
You are
same as the hospital commission,
right?
Huh?
You are
same as the hospital commission.
Yeah.
No, I just looked at I'm shocked. You're absolutely right about Brevard. I just looked it up too. I was like, they don't.
No, they don't. They
I know it's
rejected
state
it.
law, but I guess you don't have to implement it. It's
You
choice
don't.
by county by county basis. And they, like St. Lucie actually has a taxing district. I believe Martin does too. So they always go, well, like Martin's the same as us, and they've got $9 million. Well, they're a taxing district.
Mm-hmm.
What we fought against, and you personally went out and won. And
yeah. So we don't have to have it at all. We could actually just have 4 of our favorite NGOs that we actually see activity changing our children and helping, and just fund those if we wanted to. Or we could have nothing at all and let the taxpayers and let them work their asses off doing events in our county to raise money on their own. But we
the initial idea, as I understood it, was that money was supposed to be seed money to help NGOs develop and flourish.
Yeah, that's
now it's just sold.
It's pretty much running NGOs.
Right.
That's the way it was sold. Well, we got great ideas that need to get implemented. So, okay, we'll be the seed money. The first year up for grabs is a couple $100,000. Well, now it's 3.5 million.
Right.
Yeah, it started out
It's
at less than
government. It doesn't stop
150,000
growing.
a year. And the NGOs, and what bothers me is when an NGO gets in there and they start liking the NGO, then the NGO creates another department, then another department, then another department. And then, oh, we need 25,000 for this department. We need 30,000 for intakes. We need 15,000 for parent involvement. We need, and it
We
starts
need
growing.
25,000 for this and that. Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, can you participate in Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah, and before you know it, that one NGO started out with a $15,000 grant that is now getting a $250,000 to $300,000 grant. And they don't know. That's what bothers me about the county commissioners. They're supposed to be representatives of the republic, conservatives, but all they do is increase NGOs, and that's a form of government that you're putting on the people. You're adding a taxation to the people, and that's creating government. And the fact that they even tried to put it as a trust just burns me like a match on my ass. It's like, how dare you call yourself conservative and you're going for this trust? And the trust was for 12 years. Like, you wouldn't have to vote on it for another 12 years with 3 millage rates. So the NGOs didn't even have to perform well in those 12 years because they were locked in. And what if we had a hurricane and our properties were totally decimated? Our county would still have to pay that NGO while we're trying to help our county get its.
That's not a problem. They can just raise the millage rate.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that, Joanne, you're absolutely right, is that once it becomes a taxing district, the people who are on this committee right now, who are members of the NGOs asking for money, they become a government unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it gets a little crazy, because
and
now they start voting the money. The Hope Wood houses who demand that the county increase the rates so we make sure we have kids who can service at Johns Island, like she said in March of 2024. We don't have proper wait staff because CSAC isn't doing the job.
Well, they have them, but they have to get them from Europe.
Yeah, I couldn't believe she said that.
Or over the border.
She forgot she was on TV.
Right.
But yeah, so well, we've kind of really gone over, guys. We're at an hour and 43 minutes.
I think it was great conversation. Thanks again, always, Thomas and Kevin. You guys bring value to the show, and I mean, you guys know you're always welcome on this show. That's for sure. And thank you, Joanne, and thank you, Joanne, for another great show that you're hosting, and John, your support. And I think it's amazing that this was just banter at one point, and now we are sharing information with people in the county who probably wouldn't know half of what is going on, whether it was stuff Jennifer Pippin brought to the show or, county stuff like you guys are bringing right now. It's just, it is. I'm very appreciative of you guys, and I look forward to these Friday night shows. That's all I've got. I know I had more questions for you guys, but we're hitting that 90-minute mark, and there's always next week. John, you got anything for these guys? Oh, we can't hear you.
You muted yourself.
There you go.
No, that was great. No, great show, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about Charlie, so God bless Charlie's family.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, Charlie Kirk. I had a little piece for him, but we'll skip it. I'll do it next time.
I think what we should do with Charlie is maybe designate an episode to him with clips of his videos, and anybody's welcome to come on, and we'll just, if you've got some favorite Charlie videos and you want to share it with us, let's put something together possibly next week if there's not anything else on the docket for next week. What do you think, Joanne?
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, because Charlie is so young, but he was so filled with the Lord's wisdom, and family man, and just some of the things that he said. He really believed everything that he said, and he lived his life that way. So what an incredible young man. And he was we're going to miss him forever, you know, but we are all Charlie now, right?
Oh, we were all Charlie then, and we're definitely Charlie now.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for coming on board. Thank you, John, Kevin, Thomas, and Mike. Man, I don't know how I ever would do it without you in the back scenes, helping out, moving the scenes.
I tend to
around
screw
for
things
me.
up, but
I do too. And thank you everybody, to all of our listeners. We love you guys. That's why we're doing this, because we love our community. We love Indian River County. And of course, we love America. You guys have a good evening.
Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.